Hi and welcome. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming. Guys, welcome back. For everyone that's new, this is the weekly Wednesday Wargaming questions and answers. It's an off the cuff video, guys. What that means is I record and upload. There is no fancy editing skills. You won't see my intro at the beginning. I do have a transition button, so hear the rain in the background. If it gets too heavy, I can stop filming and wait for that to pass a little bit and then carry on. I think this is down for the day now, so I might soldier through. These weekly Wednesdays essentially are a Q&A. You guys ask me questions and I answer them. They're essentially model focused, of which it is primarily GW stuff, and of which it's 99% of the time 40k. There is terrain questions from time to time. There is some information about myself, what's going on in the workshop and all that sort of stuff. And we have a weekly vote, which I'll get into when it comes to it. There's a lot of questions this week. A lot of them to do with battle reports, which is, you know, an interesting spin on a weekly Wednesday. Right, first off the bat, new to the hobby, watching last battle report, how are you guys getting 40 shots from your units? Okay, this is okay, for me, with the Necron Warriors, they have, with the Ghouls Flayer, they have 1 shot piece. Okay, there's a unit of 20, so that's 20 shots to start with. They have rapid fire 1, which means when the enemy is within half their shooting distance, which is 24 inches, so when they're 12 inches or less, I'll get a second shot for each model. So that's 40 shots. Now they have lethal hits on theirs, which auto wound for every 6 I roll. But with the plasmats in there, that gives them auto wounding on a 5+, which is very handy. Now, for Mark, he had the 20 termagants. I think they had spine fists. They're 2 shots a piece, and they're assault weapons, so they can advance and shoot with them. Now, 2 shots a piece with 20 of them, that's 40 shots. When you're rolling that amount of dice, you know, it's just, we've discovered last time, it's just better not to film that, because there's a lot of dice. Sometimes you're rolling 20 dice and then another 20 dice, and then whatever hit, then you're rolling to wound those. So we decided not to film those 40 dice being rolled, just to roll the dice and then come back with the saving throws and, you know, how many got through and whatnot. But yeah, that is the easiest way to, especially in Necrons and Tyranid army, just to buff out those shots. Now most of the time, those 40 shots might equate to maybe 5 wounds or 5 to 10 wounds. I say 10, but that's being wishful thinking a little bit. It's usually 5 wounds it equates to. But for the Necrons, especially for the Warriors, there's a high chance of getting a lot of 5s with the Plasmancer, giving them lethal hits. So when you're shooting something like that at a heavily armoured vehicle or heavily armoured unit, you're basically loading them with dice. So there's a lot of dice on them to roll, and the chance of them getting 1s and 2s and stuff like that are quite high. Not quite high, but if they're rolling 20 saves, and like I said, say 5 go through, that's 5 wounds on a vehicle, or 5 wounds on, you know, Terminators or something like that. So it's, you know, sometimes it is worth having that amount of dice to throw. But that's how we were getting 40 shots, and Mark already knew with the Necron Warriors that's what they would be pumping out, and he bought the termagants with the spine fist, which is absolutely, you know, fantastic. But we spoke about it beforehand, and I said to him, I'm not going to record the 40 dice being rolled, and he said, yeah, he has the same on a few units, so we're not going to record that. Yeah, that's how you get the 40 shots. Now I have a Dark Angel list with 10 Terminators. Now I think there's a heavy flamer and a cyclone missile launcher in there, so there's 8 Terminators with Stormbolters. I think they're 2 shots a piece. I think rapid fire as well. I think they're rapid fire. So again, even at 8 of them shooting, if they're in rapid fire rate, well, 16 shots already, and if it is rapid fire 1, that's 24 shots then. You know, that's how you can really mount the shots up. I think it's rapid fire 1. If I'm wrong, someone check it below and let me know. Can you do a series of videos explaining the basics of a game of 40k, please, as I'm new to the hobby and I like the battle reports, but I don't understand what's really going on? I can do. Someone else said this to me as well about they don't really watch the battle reports because they don't understand what's going on. And I thought, okay, maybe I should sit and have a little, little explanation of what's going on. And someone else asked me this one, so I was like, okay, I definitely need to do it now if more than one person's asked me for it. So I will do that, just explain the basics of this is how you move a unit, this is what their movement is, and all that sort of stuff. Because even if you don't play, you just build and paint, eventually your army is going to get to a point where you want to play because you've got so many models. Or someone's going to say, come, let's have a game. And you're like, oh, okay, I don't really know how to play it, but if I explain how it works, then you'll have an idea. Now, I'm not an expert at all. Out of me and Mark, he is the more experienced player with, in terms of quite a lot of stuff. But through playing games with him, he's actually, even though he keeps wiping me off the table every time, I'm actually learning a lot. And my level of gameplay, I feel, has improved vastly. Especially when Demons played against him, because there was a few times where he thought he was going to lose and he just pulled it back at the end. So, I know my game is improved. Right, talking of Mark, Mark's going to be going to a tournament soon. So he's going to be running his Drukhari army. So not this week or next week, because both our kids are on half term, 2 weeks of half term, which limits us to what we can do. But after that, he wants to get some practice games in to prep him for the tournament, so he knows, if he has to adjust his list and all of that and all that sort of stuff. So what we've lined up is he will be playing Drukhari for the next number of games to prep him for the tournament. The first time he's going to go up against is going to be my Dark Angels, which I don't know if it's going to be. I think there's 27 models in my list. So I don't know if there's going to be a strong list to fight against. And I know if he faces Dark Angels in the tournament, there's going to be a lot of Shroud Runners, and there's a vehicle, I can't remember what the flying vehicle, I can't remember what it's called now, but it can transport dreads, I think. So it can move 20 inches and then drop a Redemptor Dreadnought down. So I know he'll be coming across that. So it'd be slightly different to it because I don't have the Dark Shroud, or is it Talon? Whatever the vehicle, the flying vehicle is, I don't have that. I have a Redemptor Dread, I just need to build it. But but it gives him a sort of rough idea of how to deal with like Deathwing Terminators and stuff like that. Or if someone brings the Lion or Azrael, and because I wasn't going to put the Lion in the list, but it's the first time I'm going to be using the Dark Angels in 10th edition with the new codex. So I said I have to put the Lion into it, just because. Then it'll be his Drukhari army versus the Demons, which is going to be a proper slobber knocker, and that's going to be a tough game for him because a lot of his stuff is toughness 3, toughness 4. So that'll be a good game. At that point, then the Death Guard should be on the table. So then he'll face against Death Guard, because the Death Guard is another tough unit for him, army for him to face in the tournament. And then he'll face the Eldari, my new revised list of Eldari. So I've got a little roadmap of what I need to get done, ready for that, for him, to help him out. He's not going to place them against the Necrons, because he's going to tournament with someone who plays Necrons, so they'll face them, and they're taking Necrons to the tournament, so there'll be more of a chance of him facing playing this other lad with his Necrons, and having more of a chance of when he faces those Necrons, he's going to have more of a chance of having if he comes across Necrons in a tournament for someone else, the list is not going to be that different. Okay, probably like 2 units of 6 wraiths, and the usual stuff that people take. But that's the roadmap for battle reports at the moment. Now, I'm quite happy to help him and everything else. I would hope. I hope he wins, because he's such an amazing player, such a great sportsman and everything else. I hope he wins, and then if he does, then I will throw a Necron army at that tournament army to see if I can beat that army. You know, because the Necrons should be, there'll be more things added to Necrons by then. You're giving yourself 1 month to get the Death Guard on the table. How about the Tyranids? Yeah, see, the Tyranids, I want them on the table. I want them, you know, from the last battle for playing against them, I'm like, I want to put these on the table because I can do a lot. You know, I can do a lot with this. But for me, the thing that's put me off the most is I've got 78 termagants to build. Now, I've got a little system going at the moment where when I do the painting video, I have plague bearers down here that I'm adding contrast paint to them before I finish. Like before I close up and lock everything up and turn the lights off. And they're almost done. So that's a pretty straightforward unit. When I'm doing a Let's Build video, again, before I go off for, you know, the afternoon or day, whatever, the last unit of Death Guard, I'm putting the last bits on those. Now that unit is actually older models, but I'm cobbling the bits left over from the Death Guard sprues onto those to make them into a viable unit. And to be honest with you, there's 30 Death Guard Plague Marines. That's actually quite a nice number there. But that's what I'm doing. So my plan is, when I finish those Death Guard Marines, which I'm not far away from finishing them, then to set up the termagants and start just pumping out termagants that way. Even if I clip one model and glue one model, you know, 1 or 2 models a day, that's really going to push that out. But I do want to get them on the table. It's just, they're on my list, but they're down on the bottom of the list. I do enjoy painting them. I think they're fantastic to paint, but they're just down the bottom of my list, unfortunately. Why don't you just play a meta army list? You see, there are a lot of, when I play my list, there are a few things that I do put in the list that is like meta, but I just play it because I like playing the game, and I just play it because it's cool. You know, some people will run crazy things like, I'm looking at the Wraith Guard, painted Wraith Guard from Monday's video. Some people run like Wraith Blades and put them in, you know, some sort of transport and drop them off, and, you know, I think a Falcon Grav Tank and Deep Strike, so that's what they do with them. And that's a cool way of doing it. But for me, I don't, you know, I'll do that, but I don't want to just take all the meta stuff. I just don't find that as fun. I like to, you know, think of really weird combinations and come up with really weird combinations and just put them on the table. And for example, the Chaos Space Marine list, the Hellbrute. Now, the Hellbrute is, if you don't know, is the Chaos Space Marine version of a Dreadnought. Whereas the Dreadnought, they put wounded Space Marine in to carry on fighting. The Hellbrute is more of a prison to put them in, because the Hellbrute tortures them at the same time and drives them crazy and all that sort of craziness. But the rules part of it, the Hellbrute has a 6-inch aura. So any friendly Chaos Space Marine units inside that 6-inch aura, when they do a Dark Pact, they'll get both lethal hits and sustained hits. So I don't see no one ever running that in any sort of lists, which is like bonkers, because, you know, with 2 forge fiends next to him, you can really pump the shots out and really do some serious damage to something. So, I mean, the game I played with Mark off camera, 1 forge fiend nearly took out a whole unit of Custodes. You know, I think there's 5 in the unit plus a hero, and he killed 4, only for their Mark to activate his Feel No Pain ability. Saved 1. Oh, no, so yeah, saved 1, so he lost 3, and then the next turn he played 1 CP to bring that one back, to bring 1 model back. You know, so just with that alone, that one forge fiend nearly killed a whole unit of Custodians, which is, I don't see people running Hellbrutes. For me, Chaos Space Marine list, I've got another Hellbrute to build. As soon as I get that built, I'll be pushing that into the list as well, because, you know, you imagine that sort of firepower on the table and just really pushing out. Or you have a unit of, say, Havocs, which is the Chaos Space Marine Devastator Squad, all with las cannons, and they're within 6 inches of the Hellbrute, do a Dark Pact, so they get sustained hits and lethal hits on a 5+. Each las cannon's 1 shot has 4 shots. Any 5+ is auto wound and an extra shot. You know, this is the combinations that I come up with, and sometimes they work fantastic. Sometimes, you know, they don't really work, but then I go, okay, it's good. Oh, it's worth doing again, but I just need to maybe tweak it a little bit. Like back with the 42 Forge Fiends and the Hellbrute, I used to bring them up the table, and now I'm like, okay, we'll just hang back a little bit. If I have to move them to get a target, then I move them to get a target. But apart from that, just hang back, you know, and just pick things off. But anyway, that's I just play because it's cool. Without me waffling on, so I do apologise. What do you find easier to build / paint? Single big models or units? Now, see, this is a good question, because I've built some big models and they've been a pain in the arse to build. I've built some single units and they've been a pain in the arse. Not so much a pain in the arse as in they're very difficult to build, just very time consuming. The Void Dragon, when I built him, he was a lot of gluing and waiting. Come back, gluing a few more bits and waiting. And literally I spent the whole day just gluing a few bits of his energy bits, and then going off for an hour and a half, 2 hours, come back and gluing a few more, and then they glue together, and then he glues into it, you know. So that kind of way was a bit like frustrating, because I had to just do a bit of it, especially when I'm trying to film it for you guys as well, because it's just done a little bit, and then when it comes to editing, I've got to make sure the clips all line up properly. And in terms of Angron, another big model, he was great to build. I enjoyed building him, apart from the wing was slightly off, but then I had to modify that with a bit of hot glue into the gap, which is not an issue because you don't even know it's there. Be'lakor was fantastic to build. His base, apart from his little base, because there was a little nipple bit of plastic that I must have missed and it didn't sit perfectly thing, but you know, it's built now, it's done, it's fantastic. Christ, Fate Weaver was fantastic to build. Hammerfell Bunker was a joy to build. Land Raiders are pretty straightforward to build, you know, all these big models. But then there's units that I've built that have been like absolutely fantastic. The Death Guard was fantastic to build. The only problem for me with Death Guard is I was doing 3 boxes in one. So filming one and building the other 2 off camera. So it was very time consuming. It's 21 models. So, and the other thing that was, other units like Space Marine Scouts, not the older ones, the new ones were a joy to build. Absolutely fantastic. Very, very straightforward, very simple. Especially when you glue the weapon, 2-handed weapon, and it just slots into the model. Perfect. Things like, I'd say Necron Warriors. The first time I built Necron Warriors, they were a pain in the ass. The second time I built them, I just flew through them and they were so simple. So I've still got another 20 to build. You know, again, I'm going to fly through them, very, very simple. So I don't know, building wise, I think if the models, like with the Death Guard models, they got the weapon, they got the arm bit that goes into the weapon, and the connection point was perfect. Literally, you just put it in and it stayed. A little tiny pin and a little tiny hole, and it just perfect, perfect, perfect. Everything lined up perfectly. So, you know, that sort of way, if it's like that for building a unit, it's, you fly through it. When I was building Christ Fate Weaver as well, big model, I flew through it because it's lined up perfectly. Now, in terms of painting, when it comes to a big model, sometimes you need to really just spend time on it. Christ Fate Weaver again, I didn't tell you guys I was painting him. I was just filming it, doing an hour or 2 a day, and I could have done more on him and spent a lot longer, but I got him ready for the table, done a bit extra on top of him, and said, okay, that's enough now, I don't need to go too mad. In terms of unit, if you're talking Space Marine unit, because of my chapter colours, they're a pain in the arse, the Screaming Skull is. But most units are okay once you get the bare basic colours on them. Once you've got to that stage, you can then just fly through with, you know, your highlighting, dry brushing and everything else. You know, that's I don't know what I find easier, to answer your question, really. Depends on the collection of points of building, and depends on what colours I'm painting, I suppose. Because a bigger model, yeah, is annoying, but once you've got the base colours down, it's, you know, it's just highlighting, it's simple, very simple. I don't really have an answer to that question. That's a very interesting question, because it does vary. I see a Toon Blade over there, and that was a pain in the ass to build. I've got 2 more to build. I'm not in a hurry to build them because they're a pain in the ass. Yeah, that's I think that's 50-50, really, to give you an answer. So now I'm going to bring you down and show you the vote. For those that are new, what is the vote and what's it all about? I'll show you host the models, and you guys vote on what you want to paint for next Monday's painting video. Now, next Monday's painting video is next Monday is a bank holiday. I'm off of work, which is fantastic, but I don't know if the farmers are going to be in the whole day because it's a bank holiday. I have to presume that they will be. So if the video doesn't go up until Tuesday, I apologise, but that's, you know, I can't, if I've got the model mostly finished, but I can't film the last little bits because they're in that the whole day. You know, I do apologise, but the aim is to get it done and have it ready for Monday. So basically, I'll show you a host of models, and you guys vote on what you want me to paint for next month's painting video. If you don't know what something's called, because some of them have really crazy names, just give me a description. You can vote for as many as you like, but don't say I vote for everything, because it won't count. There is no Eldari in the vote this week. Make sure. No, there is no, because Eldari won last week's vote, so there's the Wraith Guard are painting that Monday. A few things have been changed out, a few things have been added. You can vote for any, say, any of the Tyranids, or any of the Space Marines, or any of the, because that will count. If you do vote for, say, any of the Tyranids, and somebody else comes in and says, right, I vote for this specific Tyranid, and everyone else votes for different things, well, that Pacific Tyranid has 2 votes then, so that would win. Yeah, so I'm going to bring down showing models now, guys. Oh, and the voting finishes at 12 o'clock on a Friday, because then I can look what needs to be prepped, basing and undercoating and all that sort of stuff, and start making a little bit of progress on it. Okay, so I'm bringing down showing models. Bloody camera didn't want to respond to my finger then. Anyway, we have the Barbagons, 10th edition Leviathan box. We have Lilith Hexprax for the Drukhari army. We have Tyranid Warriors. Now they were on a dice roll for Monday's painting video, so I thought, okay, they were voted on, leave them back in. We have Neurogaunts. We have Dr. Octopus from Marvel Crisis Protocol. We have Genestealers. We have Shield Captain, again, he was voted on, so I said I'll leave him in. We have the Saboteur. We have the unit of Neophyte Hybrids for Genestealer Cult Army. We have Shadow Greyfax, Inquisitor Shadow Greyfax, should I say, for the, well, it would be for the Agents of the Imperium army that's coming now. We have the 8-bound. We have Von Ryan's Leapers. We have these Sisters of Silence, I can't remember what they're called now, but they're there. We have the Green Goblin, or Hobgoblin, from Marvel Crisis Protocol. I think it's the Green Goblin. We have the Changeling, who's still lurking around. We have the newly built Companions, which is actually amazing sculpts. I'm very pleased with those sculpts. We have the Apothecary Biologists for the Space Marine Army. We have the Death Guard Marines. Now, if they win the vote, I'll only be painting 1 unit. Probably 1 unit on camera, just because there's so many of them. We have the Captain America for Marvel Crisis Protocol. We have the Skitarii High Marshal. And we have the Hive Tyrant. Right, so It's a nice choice there. And like I said, I want everything to paint, so there's no panic on whatever goes on, whatever people vote on. I forgot to mention about the Agents of the Imperium. There was a leak about it. I think was it last week, and I forgot to talk about it. Was it just after last week's Weekly Wednesday? But there was a leak online, and it was basically pictures of pages from the Agents of the Imperium Codex that will be coming soon, and it was the same page printed again. It looked like it was from the printers, which is bonkers. So that's going to be an interesting army to hit the table. I think that will fly off as soon as they do the box for that, the starter box, you know, what comes in it with the codex and everything else, that will fly off the shelves. But more information comes about that, we'll get back to it. I still believe the Dark Mechanicum is coming. And I know we all know Emperor's Children's coming in this edition, so anyway, so if you have any questions for me, with your vote, you chuck comments below, okay? If you have any questions for me, chuck comments below as always, or you can go onto Unique Wargaming Main Facebook page. There's a messenger button, you can click on that and it messages me directly, and you know, because some people find it more comfortable doing that way, because they don't want people to know they're watching the channel, or they just don't want people to take the piss out of them, or whatever it is. There is no silly questions, guys. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button because it costs you absolutely nothing. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss anything. Everyone smash the thumbs up button so it triggers YouTube to share this video with more people, which makes this amazing community of you guys go even more. It's currently at 795. That is just absolutely fantastic. You know, a massive thank you to all of you guys. Yeah, so hit the buttons for me. Until next time, thank you for watching. Take it easy, guys.